Chairman Blanton and members of the committee, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to present to you today. My part of this story started in 2023. Whenever my grandchildren came to me, they go to Akron Elementary, for which Tanya Cerna is an employee there. And they asked me to come and help Tanya Cerna and her family with an issue that she has had with railroad vegetation. And so I met with Tanya the week of Thanksgiving in 2023, and she discussed the situation that she has. Now, I want her to tell that to you, but what happened is her son was killed in April of 2022 at the age of 19 at a railroad crossing. And that railroad crossing, the vegetation had not been cleared, and so therefore visibility was impossible until a person traveling in a car actually got on the railroad, actually on the tracks. They would not be able to see that a train was coming. So, of course, I was very concerned about this, and I started talking to Congressman Guthrie because I'm very familiar with the Department of Transportation and the Federal Railroad Association. And so he pointed me to state government because there's an awareness that there's an issue with the federal regulation, and that they have put out a model bill for all states to adopt this and to control at the state level. At the time that I did research, which was in 2024, 34 states had implemented their own state regulation. When we look at this document, which I have read every page of this document, it's 700 pages. When we look at this, it says specifically that Kentucky is one of the few states left that has not addressed railroad vegetation. So also included in this document is a model bill. And so Josh Calloway, Representative Calloway, will talk about the model bill that he has introduced. I introduced a similar bill in 2024, but that did not meet the concerns of the railroads. And so their recommendation was that we use the model bill as it was proposed by the Federal Railroad Association. And within this document, it says that it is the FRA, or the Federal Railroad Association, recommends and encourages states to include private highway rail grade crossings in their efforts to remove and or mitigate site obstructions at passive highway rail grade crossroads. And so that's the model language that Representative Calloway introduced this year and plans on introducing again in 2026. But I'd like Ms. Cerna at this point to take control because I think that it's very important for you to hear her story.
Good afternoon, Chair Blanton and all committee members. Thank you in advance for the opportunity to speak to you about our beloved son, Hunter, and why we're here. Forgive me if I cry. On April 28, 2020, our lives changed forever. We received that dreadful call that no one wants to receive. There is absolutely nothing worse than losing a child, but to lose a child because his statutory law wasn't in place and knowing that this could have been prevented had there been such a law, is just the most heart-wrenching feeling ever. The main factor in this preventable tragedy was that vegetation obscured the view of the train from the driver. The train couldn't see the car, nor could the driver see the train. At the time of the collision, there was only a crossbuck sign with a yield sign affixed on top. This sign was also partially obscured by the vegetation overgrowth. That was the only warning sign at this Craft Road crossing. We were just recently at this crossing on August 21st of this year, which would have been Hunter's 25th birthday. And to my disappointment, the vegetation was quite overgrown. You almost have to be on the tracks to see a train approaching. Had there been a statutory law in place requiring railroad companies to clear vegetation at the lines of sight, we would have had the opportunity to see Hunter grow into the fine man that he would have been. His goals was to graduate from the J.B. Speed School of Engineering at U of L, pursue a career in chemical engineering, celebrate his special birthdays, marry, have children, and we will never know what other life goals he may have had because we were all denied that opportunity to see where his life path may have taken him. We see Hunter's friends and have seen them grow into fine young men. Some are married, have children, have great careers, and or are still further in their education. Hunter doesn't get to do any of this. He lost his life, and it shouldn't have happened. He was so full of life. He was so full of life, and an indescribable pain has been left because his life was unnecessarily cut short. Since Hunter's passing, I have started Hunter's Purpose. Hunter's Purpose is to bring railroad safety awareness throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I am, in Hunter's memory, advocating for the railroad industry to take responsibility, as well as motorists and pedestrians. And that is why I'm here today. To stress how important it is to have a statutory law enacted. If vegetation is cleared at the lines of sight at railroad crossings, pedestrians and motorists would be able to see an uncommon train. I'm also an active volunteer for Operation Lifesaver. Operation Lifesaver is the only national nonprofit organization dedicated to saving lives with free rail safety education, presentations in communities throughout the United States. Together, by changing the railroad laws, we can save lives for many generations to come. To date, there are 34 states that have a statutory law enacted that requires railroad companies to clear vegetation at their lines of sight. Kentucky has no such law. Please change this. Please get a statutory law enacted requiring railroad companies to clear vegetation on their lines of sight, especially at crossings that do not have active lights and arms, so that no family member, friend, and community has to endure the emotional pain and suffering that my family, Hunter's friends, and our community has had to endure. Thank you for your time and your serious consideration, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Chairman Blanton, and thank you, Ms. Tanya and Representative Tate. All the work that has been done up to this point, Nancy's done so much research on this prior to me getting engaged and involved, and she actually introduced me to Tanya, who is one of my constituents, which is it's an honor for me to be able to represent her and to represent this cause and this purpose. And as you can probably tell, she has found a new purpose in life, and she is like a bulldog with this, and it's exciting to be able to help her and to be a part of it. And so we did introduce last session House Bill 407. You can look at that bill, and I just want to talk briefly about where do we go from here. And what we will be doing is filing this bill again in the 2026 session. And we're going to be working with each individual, each person, as far as the railroads and individuals that represent them, to make sure that we can come to some kind of agreement, which we think we have. I'm not sure if anybody came to speak today on that. I know Chairman Blanton has talked about that a little bit. He's been engaged with this as well. But we want to see this move forward, and we think it's an opportunity to where we can all come together, agree that this is a problem. I have a short video that I want to show you here, and this was just a simulation that was done that would give you an idea where the wreck took place, of what it looked like, and then what it could have looked like if this bill would have been in place. And so I just wanted to play that for you so it'd give you a visual. It really helped me understand exactly what we're talking about trying to do here. So it kind of gives you an idea. If you go and look, Wave 3 did an article on this. They actually have the video on their website that shows the wreck as it happened. It shows the video of that wreck. I didn't want to play that today for several reasons, but you can go look at that and see exactly how this took place. It was preventable. There's a lot of things that happen out of our control throughout our society. But I think this is something that we can help control. We can improve the safety, and we can save somebody else from this type of tragedy in the future. So thank you for your consideration, and we appreciate everything that you've allowed us to speak today. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer those questions.